Well, Eli Lilly one step closer to getting its new Alzheimer's treatment approved by the Food and Drug Administration. Joining us now, Evan Seigerman, BMO Capital Markets Managing Director of Biopharma Equity Research. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So the company getting a big boost with the FDA panel saying, okay, we're not going to do a black box, and this seems to be a good alternative. Talk to us about how it's going to fit into the marketplace.
For sure. So right now, the only approved anti-A beta antibody is Biogen Eisai's Leqembi. The sales haven't been great. It's been kind of an anemic launch. So investors have been hoping that the addition of another product, Lilly's donanemab, could kind of help lift the entire market, because having two products and basically three companies marketing the class should accelerate uptake. So that should be helpful. I expect that we could see approval near term. The AdCom was pretty successful, so hopefully Lilly will be off to the races soon.
And Evan, I'm just curious. I mean, obviously you read, I'm sure, a lot of these results and results like this. I mean, how big a breakthrough was this?
So these drugs are incremental, right? They slow the cognition and function declines that we see when it comes to Alzheimer's disease. You get about 6 months of kind of a benefit, which frankly, if your parent had it, that would be a really good thing. I think the issue is kind of getting these drugs to the patients. It's infusions that are, twice a month, for example.
So it's delivered at the hospital.
It's delivered in an infusion clinic. So there's a lot of infrastructure there. But hey, it's something that actually affects the disease. So I think that's what's big here.
Oh, is the sort of difficulty or, the friction, if you will, of getting these treatments, is that one of the reasons that Biogen Eisai hasn't had more uptake?
There's a lot of reasons. I think first of all, getting the diagnosis is challenging. Before these drugs were available, physicians had no incentive to diagnose them with biocognitive impairment caused by Alzheimer's disease. They would just kind of worry them. So now they have to change that paradigm, get the diagnosis, get the PET scans, and then get patients into the infusion chairs.
And they also have to make sure that they even have the amyloids.
They have to make sure they're amyloid positive.
That they're even eligible
to
take these particular kinds of
drugs. And then
MRIs
MRIs to make sure they're not getting brain swelling, which was the discussion during the AdCom. So it's a lot of infrastructure to get these patients the drug.
When you try to look at the market, these treatments for Alzheimer's, and you try to model it, like how big is it now? How big do you think it could be?
Right now, it's like barely anything in Biogen's P&L. I think over time between these two products, it could be 10, 15, 20 billion dollars, but that's going to take a lot of time to get there.
When you say a lot of time, what would you?
I mean, like 5+ years, just given how slow the Biogen Eisai launch has been. Hopefully now that Biogen's putting their reps in the field, that should help. And with Lilly's reps in the field, that should help even further.
I'm really curious because we haven't talked about this in a while, because all of discussion around pharma has just been swallowed up by the GLP-1 discussion. And I'm wondering, resourcing, what does that look like? What does R&D funding look like in the industry now? Is a lot of it going towards that shiny new object, or are we still seeing funding for Alzheimer's and cancer and all of these other important things to treat?
So it's really interesting because we just had the big cancer meeting in Chicago, and Lilly had an investor event that was focused solely on cancer, and they have a lot going on. So they are working in things beside Mounjaro and Zepbound, which is important. There is a lot of focus in obesity, but biopharma is definitely not shying away from oncology, inflammation, neuroscience. We saw 2 takeouts recently, Bristol with Karuna, AbbVie with Cerevel in the psychiatric space. So there is opportunity elsewhere outside of metabolic disease.
And then final one, you just look at the stock, and it's been just a monster. It's already up, 50% this year. You haven't outperformed though. So what are the next catalysts, Evan? For viewers listening, what do they have marked on their calendar?
Why do we keep liking this stock? Well, first of all, I look forward to second quarter earnings in early August, where we'll get updates on their on the launch of Zepbound, especially when it comes to supply, everyone's favorite topic, supply of GLP-1s. Beyond that, hopefully we'll get an update to their label to include the OSA data. Remember, they had sleep apnea. And then further on, we're looking for updates from their oral product or for Glipron. That's also been in focus recently. So they have more in the metabolic space, and maybe an approval of donanemab outside of, Zepbound and Mounjaro.
Right, yes, there's other stuff going on.
There's other stuff going on. They'd be very happy that I'm reminding folks about that.
Yeah, Evan, thanks so much for coming in to talk to us about this. Appreciate it.
Thank you.